Recording in progress.
Beats by CP3.
Welcome to Sports on the Hill podcast. Hashtag DC Sports Without the Politics with Carol and Robbie on True Radio Network. Thank you, gentlemen.
That's right. It's Monday night. Sports on the Hill podcast, episode 256, coming to you live from the lab. CP3 got Robbie G in the man cave. And as always, we love being here for you, and we're glad to have you tuned in tonight for the best DC sports coverage you're gonna get anywhere. We had a exciting NFL wildcard weekend. We have a live look-in game with Arizona versus the Rams on the first ever Monday Night Football wildcard game. And the Rams are up 7-0 right now in the first quarter. They just went to commercial. As always, we're going to recap the Capitals week that was. Another not too impressive week for the Caps, but, you know, we talked about it last week about them missing pieces and trying to get healthy. Then we're going to break down the wild card weekend with DujunneaB after we had that great segment last week. We're going to have a recap of the weekend and talk about the game that's going on now. We'll look at the upcoming matchups for next week in the divisional round. And then, as always, we'll finish up with the Wizards roundtable, breaking down their 2-1 week. Unfortunately, they're now in the 9th seed in the East right now, so they're not in playoff spots. So I know they're going to break down that and some of the ups and downs with that team this week. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Robbie G, how are you doing tonight, good sir?
Good. They're actually 3-1 now. They won the 2:00 start time game. So a really exciting game against Philadelphia that I'm super excited to break down. I don't get to watch all of games very often because I'm usually have to put somebody to bed or deal with something. But a 2:00 game on a Monday, perfect. I had the day off and I got to watch the entire game. And they put a masterful performance. 7 players in double figures today, Carol. So they really spread the ball well, and I'm excited to talk about that game. All the other games for the 3-1 week, and the Capitals, you know, it's sort of hit and miss. You know, we won one, lost one. I thought the goaltending was very good in the first game. I can't put it all on Sammy in the second game. I think the defense, you know, lapsed. It's tough. We're not getting the same players each game, and it's just this lack of chemistry. And they're doing the best they can. I mean, I think they're playing some good hockey. I think Vancouver is actually playing great right now. I think my dad was like, "You lost to Vancouver. They're not that good." I was like, "Well, they weren't good." And then if you look at their last 10, they've won like 8 of them since Gabby took over. So, you know, they're a different team, and and Gabby knows us well. So, but yeah, lots to break down in that. But the playoffs were great. I was rooting. I had nobody in that I was rooting for, Carol, but I was rooting against 4 teams, and all 4 of them lost. So I had a perfect weekend in the NFL. So this is kind of like a bonus game for me because I was excited either way, whoever wins. But yeah, it's been a fun 3-day weekend, and we should say a little thing about Martin Luther King. You know, he was an amazing man, and I feel blessed that we get a day to recognize him. You know, I think that it's very cool that the NBA does some day games during that thing, and they sort of, they were celebrating him all day on the broadcast there. Carol, do you have any thoughts on that before we start talking hockey?
Yeah, it's definitely a pivotal day for this country, especially where we are. Unfortunately, right now, I'm actually watching a show right now, Godfather of Harlem, that talks about Bumpy Johnson and Malcolm X in those civil rights time, and they were just mentioning Martin Luther King and his version of the civil rights as opposed to Malcolm X and his thought process. But it's definitely something we all as a country need to sit down and think about those times and try to remember why we had the civil rights movement, that we, care about every fellow man, woman, child, no matter what color, race, creed, or whatever, it shouldn't even matter. But right now in this world, we need a little bit more of Martin Luther King, and a lot of people, turn the other cheek, looking for equality, judging people by their character, not by their skin color or whatever, political views or whatever. So it's just, you know, we all need to reflect back on some of those times when we were divided and what brought us together, and hopefully, maybe we can try to come back together as one country instead of a divided country.
Yeah, for sure. Well said. You know, I think it's important that we celebrate days like today. I know we always say we're DC sports without the politics, but there's no politics about this. It's all about a man who really changed the world, and something that we should all look up to and try to aspire to be more like. So, an important day in our history. Hopefully, people did something good or spent time with family, or on a day like today. Going into the hockey, it's a long layoff before we got to our first game, which didn't bode well for us the previous week. But I thought that the first game was pretty good for the Capitals on Saturday. Do you want me to just break down the scoring and then we'll get into it?
Yeah, let's go ahead and just get into the scoring.
Yeah, Tom Wilson scored in the first period, 4:35 into the game, his 10th of the season. Assist by Protas, his sixth of the season. So Tom Wilson gets in a double-digit scoring. I'm sure that angers a lot of people. It was a beautiful goal, a great snipe shot to a corner. Just really, it shows how skilled he is as a goal scorer. Something I've talked about a lot on this show. It was 1-0. And it stayed 1-0 for the whole rest of the game until an empty net goal by Ovi, assist by Kuzi, is 24th, Backstrom's 4th. It's Ovechkin's 25th goal of the season, and they were able to win 2-0. Vitek Vanacek with the shutout. I thought he had a great performance. Varlamov on the other side, I thought was really great as well. Tom Wilson obviously had the big goal, and Ovi getting the second one. What were your thoughts on that one?
Well, it was definitely a well-played game. The 2 o'clock start. We know the Caps have some issues with afternoon games, but it came out. They were solid defensively. It was, 5 men playing defense no matter who was out there. They were, the man stayed high when they went down and crashed on the forecheck. You saw a 4-man low, man always high. So when you saw that time off, they hopefully, saw some of the issues in their defense and addressed it, because this was a great performance by the team defense. I believe Double V only had 20 saves in that game. So they were blocking shots. They were, shutting things off. They were back checking. They were playing, the Capitals hockey we saw earlier in the season. And we were fortunate enough to see Double V get a shutout we've seen many times. That we'll get to the third period and, they'll give up a dumb penalty, and they'll get a late power play goal and take away the shutout. And then also a fun fact that the Capitals are the only team in the league with 3 different goalies with a shutout.
Yeah, that is a fun fact. I don't think I knew that.
NHL Network, Robbie. NHL Network, man, I love it.
There you go. 23 saves for Vitek Vanacek. So you're right. It wasn't like it was a high volume night. The Islanders have been going through a major slump, but they've had players in COVID protocol, coaches in protocol. They're in a similar situation as the Capitals, where it's just hard to gel with all these different lineups that they're throwing out there. And the Caps took advantage of it, but they still put together a good game. That's what you want to see out of a break. Unfortunately, it kind of rolled into the next game a little bit, and because the Capitals did score first. Ovi got his 26th goal of the season on a power play, an assist by Justin Schultz's 5th and Kuzi's 25th. And so I thought, there's a carryover. Like they're bringing the momentum with them. Things seem to be going pretty well. But Bruce Boudreau's got this Vancouver team playing phenomenally, and they got a goal 33 seconds in to the period because they were on the power play. It was kind of a questionable call that they got put on the power play, and it was nicked out interference. It was a pretty weak interference call. There was a couple of almost calls against the Capitals in a row. I think that the refs just kind of was like an aggregate, like we didn't call the other two, but we're gonna call this one. But it's unfortunate because obviously it leads to the game tying goal, and then just about 4 minutes later they get a second goal, and then at the end of the period they get a third goal. So like the momentum is completely shifted. Tom Wilson did get a power play goal, his 11th of the season. So it's the same goal scorers in both games. It's just unfortunately Vancouver scored goals, period. Unfortunately, TJ Miller at the end gets an empty netter to make it 4-2. Tom Wilson's 11th of the season on the power play was assisted by Kuzi, his 26th, and Backstrom's 5th assist of the season. Backy's been playing well. Kuzi's been playing well. Tom's been playing well, and Ovechkin. The problem is like all their other cast of characters keep on shifting. The lines keep on shifting, and I think it's difficult. There was a lot of injuries and a lot of people going into COVID protocol very late, just before the game started. So, Carol, what are some of your thoughts on playing against Bruce Boudreau and Vancouver?
Yeah, this game was a little frustrating to watch. I was watching it. Like you said, the Caps got off to a good start. And in the second period, for some reason, again, the second period has been Achilles heel of this Capitals team. I believe you said that we have the worst save percentage from our goalies in the second period of any team in the NHL. And Vancouver gets stronger throughout the game. You know, they had a slow start in the first period, and you saw them constantly ramping it up. They have a lot of first-round picks on their team that have speed and talent, and Boudreau is getting the best out of them. And both of them was coming off a back-to-back, so there was no excuse for them to have that period like they did. And yes, Vancouver was a better team that day, unfortunately.
Yeah, it sucks. I have a friend who's in a couple of big Caps groups with me, and he admins a bunch of them, Grant. And it was his first game. He's been waiting like 700 days to come back to the United States to get to go to see a Capitals game from across the pond in Europe. And it's so brutal, like that's that game. It's the first one. He's here for 2 weeks, though, Carol, and he's going to all the home games and the one game in Boston that's happening over the next 2 weeks. So hopefully we'll get him some W's in this journey. A programming note: I was actually supposed to go to a game with him next Monday, the Vegas game, but I ultimately sold my ticket back to the group just because I have 2 young kids at home. I just can't risk it right now with even with the double masking and everyone being vaccinated. Just my own, I would feel pretty guilty if one night of hockey I got them sick. So. But I hope that they win, and so next week I will be with Carol and Anna. Anna will have her triumphant return, and we'll root against the Golden Knights live, and we'll remember a Stanley Cup from 2018. I'm sure a lot that night. So I'm excited to be with you guys that night, but I won't be at the game. I was going to try to actually somehow stream in being at the game. It was going to be cool, but it just wasn't worth the risk at this point. But I do hope to do that in the future. In a future game, and I do wish them luck on that Monday night football game. But going back to this game, it was just again, second period, as Carl was saying, it's been brutal for us the last couple of weeks. And it's killed us. We had a lot of good starts, really bad second, and then the third we often kind of rebound a little bit. Sometimes we make a game of it. Sometimes we go to overtime and lose. Sometimes we go to a shootout and lose. Sometimes we win in a shootout, but rarely. But it's the second period has kind of doomed us. And we've had this before in previous years, a period that we take off and we don't see a solid 3 periods of hockey. But for me, it's the shifting of these lines. Like if they had stability and they played together in practice for a couple of weeks and a couple of games together instead of people getting injured, it sucks. TJ Oshie, like I was so excited for him to come back and like really do it big. And they did an amazing interview of him. I even shared it to the podcast page. If anyone wants to check it out, with TJ talking about coming back and all of his hopes and all of his things. I hope that this injury, that whatever he has just now, doesn't sideline him too much, because he was so excited to produce and help carry the load, especially for the young guys that had been doing it for them all season while he was out. And then, like, immediately to go out, and it's just like, and they haven't really told us what it is completely, which they don't in hockey.
It's upper body injury.
Right, and so it's just brutal because I'm like, God, we just got him back. Like, it kills.
That's been the story of this season for real. I mean, a lot of folks forgot about Mantha, who had shoulder surgery. You know, I totally forgot he was on
I
the
know I
team.
want to wear my Mantha gear, but it doesn't make sense if he's like on injured reserve. I just have to talk about that.
Yeah,
You
so
know.
hopefully he will be coming back soon. We finally got Nicky back. He was back for 2 games before he was out with a non-COVID illness. And you know, it's just been, you know, piecing people in places to replace somebody else, and it's real
And not even
frustrating.
players, it's also the coaches. So, like, a lot of people are saying, I've said for a while, I don't like our special teams coach, right? We've been on record saying we think that he could move on. But he was on COVID protocol. I couldn't coach them the last game. They were 2 for 2 in the power play, Carol, and they've been atrocious for the last
Well, you
few
got to
months.
remember, Nikki and Oshie was out. That's 2 key pieces of the top line. That's why they were playing so bad, because you didn't have Oshie in the bumper position, which he is excellent at. You didn't have Backstrom along with Kuzi and Ovi on the top line with Carlson. So, I mean, that's why I understood the lag, because, you know, Wilson, he's good in the bumper position, but he's no Oshie. And, you know, not having Nikki out there, the quarterback, you know, Kuzi, I love him, but he's not Nicky. Nicky slows things down.
And Nicky makes Kuzi be able to be a shooter, which is even more dangerous, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because like if you have both of them, you don't. And Nicky's got a shot too. Like he could sneak one in, you know.
So yeah, you're missing those 2 key pieces, so your power play is going to slump. So that's why I wasn't really too upset about the numbers, because I know hopefully once they get back healthy and start getting some chemistry, because we saw some wrinkles in the power play. I mean, but they've been together so long, and this power play has been so good for so long. There aren't really too many wrinkles you can put into it, because it's just they've done it all from the power play, especially with Ovi from the Ovi office. You know what's coming, but they still can't stop it. And then you got Carlson at the point. You know, he didn't play the game. He was out on COVID protocol. And I mean, you missing those pieces, so you hope that you can keep it humming at the, you know, the 20, 24, 25% level, but it's not going to happen when you're missing 2 key pieces like that. And hopefully they can just get healthy. That's been the number one enemy of this team, not any other team for real. It's been injuries and COVID, because we can't, like you said, we can't get any consistency. You can't get people, you know, steady lineups and steady lines, so they know who they're playing with and can gain that chemistry. And it's wreaking havoc on the team right now. We can only hope that all-star breakers around the corner, and hopefully, you know, some of these players can get back, Oshie, Mantha, and, you know, we can get some consistency back in these lines and, you know, start getting ready for that playoff push, because right now they're in 3rd place in the Metro, and the damn Rangers in 1st place.
I'm happy you just said that, because I just got a message from Brian. It's like, in your hockey segment, don't forget to say who's in 1st place. I'm like, God damn it.
Perfect timing, Brian. Perfect timing, Brian. I saw the standings when I posted the graphics on my page. I was like, Jesus, the Rangers are in 1st place. What is this world coming to?
Yeah, so we don't play them for some time, so it'll be interesting to see when that happens. Let's look ahead to the schedule, because I do know that people want to get into some football talk as well. We got Winnipeg on Tuesday, Boston on Thursday, Ottawa on Saturday, and Vegas next Monday. So, Carol, what is your thought about playing Winnipeg, who we beat the last time?
Hopefully this is another game the Capitals can get their defense together and, you know, put a solid defensive game together, and, you know, get their offense clicking. Like I said, hopefully get some people back, maybe Oshie or somebody come back this week to try to get some of that chemistry and get some of that veteran leadership out there on the ice also. The Bruins, they definitely owe them something after that 7-3 butt whipping last Monday. Ottawa, that was a tough game earlier this year. The Capitals won, but you see Ottawa's definitely getting better. They're young, they're fast, they're hungry, they play solid defense, and the Capitals going to have to put their best hockey out there to beat them also. Vegas, I haven't really seen too much, haven't followed them too much this year. I believe they're top in the West, I think, or if not number 2. So, as always, you know, like I say, the Capitals, if they play their hockey, play solid defense, get the forecheck going, you know, don't get too fancy, simplify the plays, and, you know, hit the back of the net, they can beat anybody. But if they don't give that 60-minute effort and 200 foot ice effort all the way up and down in every zone, then it could be a long week for this team.
Yeah, so Winnipeg we beat before, but they've been playing pretty good the last couple of weeks. They've won against Detroit, and they beat Arizona and at Vegas. So they've been definitely playing better. Boston, we saw how tough Boston is. They're one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now. Ottawa has also been playing really well. They actually had a big break. A lot of these teams with the COVID and all these different situations had a big breaks. But they came back and went to Edmonton and to Calgary and got wins over there. And that's a tough swing in Canada for Ottawa. And then Vegas is always very difficult. I mean, they've been on a little bit of a slump lately, but I think that obviously we beat them in the Stanley Cup. I'm sure that they're going to want blood every time they play us. And it bothers me that I can't go, Carol, because I've been to every single regular season game against Vegas that's ever happened here. And so I was trying to keep that streak alive with this game. So that'll fall. But it'll be fun to talk about live in the third period next week for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. You're taking the safe approach, the smart approach. Nothing wrong with that. Better safe than sorry. Like I say, even though you're vaccinated, double mask, anything is possible in this day and age, and it's not worth risking it with 2 young kids at home.
Yeah, for sure. My dad is in chat. He says thanks for making the right decision. So, all right. Well, let's get into some football talk. We'll do hockey talk a little bit faster today because I saw that DujunneaB was on the line, and we can get into this great football talk. So I want you guys to more break down the Saturday games. I didn't get to watch them as much. The outcomes were the way I wanted them to go, but I'll definitely speak more on the Sunday games because I was able to watch some of those.
All right, I can do a quick rundown because I did actually have a chance to take some notes. What's going on, DujunneaB? How you doing, my brother? It's been
Doing fine.
I'm excited for this. I know we can't get to the Cowboys game right away, but I can't wait for it because
I already know he probably got a speech and everything.
I have something to say. I know DujunneaB does. Yeah, it's gonna be so much fun. But we can get to the Saturday games first, and then we can have some fun with some of the Sunday ones.
All right, let's go ahead and get started on this recap of the wild card weekend that actually still undergoing right now. LA is up 14-0 on Arizona with 7 minutes and 50 seconds left in the second quarter. They look pretty much in command of this game right now. Odell Beckham Jr. caught the first touchdown, and I believe they rushed for the second touchdown. So the Rams are in pretty much control right now. I took the Rams, so I'm not really shocked at what the score is right now. But the first game of wild card weekend, Cincinnati broke a 30-year playoff winless drought by defeating the Raiders 26-19. Joe Burrow went 24 for 34, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 110 quarterback rating. Derek Carr. Yeah, I keep on mixing up his brother. Derek Carr. 20. That tells you how old I am. I'm mixing it up, him and his brother. 29 for 54, 310 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 69.2 quarterback rating. To me, this game, I was at work. I was still watching. It was a very entertaining game, and I want to get DujunneaB's take on the play I felt was pivotal. Cincinnati pretty much had control of this game, and in the fourth quarter, it was 4th and inches, I believe, on the 10-yard line, and my opinion was I would have went for the first down and then went for the touchdown to put your foot on their throat so it wouldn't be no doubt, if we can make this happen, we can make that happen, we can probably pull this out. And he took the field goal, which is, I'm not mad. I just would have went another way with it. And Vegas found the way to make this game way more interesting than it should have been. And I felt like you should have went for it. I felt like he was coaching scared. And then when it came down to it, Carr made a boneheaded play throwing in the double coverage, which he does. but he got bailed out because of that. Because I feel like he started coaching scared. When you saw the game from the start up into the fourth quarter, he was aggressive. He was coaching to win. In that last 7 minutes, he was coaching not to lose, and it almost cost him. What do you say, DujunneaB?
I agree with you 100%. This is why I don't like Zach Taylor. You know, it's constant. It did this during the regular season as well. It gets in these situations and he forgets that he has Joe Burrow as his quarterback. He forgets that he has Jamar Chase. He forgets that he has Joe Mixon as his running back. You know, I would have tried to go for a touchdown. I felt like they needed more points because we know what the Raiders have been doing. They've been hanging around right around that third quarter and hanging around in the game until late to buy themselves some time to be there at the end of the game to be able to make a last-second heroic deal to try to steal a game. And I felt like he was giving them every opportunity to do so. The thing of it is, though, for the Raiders, this time they were 0 for 2 in goal-to-goal situations, and they were 1 for 5 in the red zone. That ain't going to cut it at all. And it proved to be the difference in this ball game. And, of course, the turnovers, the 2 that they had versus the 0 that, Cincinnati had were the difference. Got to give Cincinnati's defense a lot of credit, though. I thought they did a pretty decent job of being like, okay, we're just not going to – we know what's coming here. We're not going to get beat over the top. We're going to give you everything in between the 20s. But when we get down in the red zone, we're going to tighten this thing up. And it's exactly what they did, and they were able to get that last-second pick at the end. And, of course, like you said, it was a bad throw. Shouldn't have been thrown. Carr trying to force it there, trying to make something happen, and it definitely wasn't there. So there you go. That was the game. Who I thought was going to win won, but again, Zach Taylor coaching scared. That's not going to cut it at all. Going to need him to be a little bit more free. You're either going to have to go get a game and win it.
It was interesting. It was interesting, to say the least. Like I said, I can't stand to see a coach
Now,
coaching. Oh, we lost you for a second, DujunneaB. Your mic went out. I thought you had paused for a second.
no.
Oh.
Who was the former Baltimore coach? I can't think of his name now, but if you're going to coach like that, you're going to coach to win the game, or you're going to coach to preserve a game, you lose every time. So,
Is it Bill Billick?
yes, there you go. Brian Billick.
Brian
Billick.
Billick.
Brian
Yeah.
Billick, yeah.
Yeah. Get out. Can't do that. Can't do that at all. The preserving games don't win games. And when you start going up this ladder here, as we get closer and closer to the AFC Championship game, they're going to have to do a better job of putting their foot on the gas in the third quarter and widening the gap.
I feel you. There's definitely room for improvement. The game shouldn't have been that close, so they were dominating. And Jamar Chase, in his first playoff game, had a monster game. 9 catches, 116 yards, 12.9, yard average. No touchdowns, but he definitely had an impact on this game. The next game, and I didn't want to go against the hoodie, but Josh Allen put his foot up inside the hoodie and some more. Buffalo handled New England 47-17. Mac Jones, 24 for 30, 232 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 75.8 quarterback rating. Josh Allen, 21 for 25, 308 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions, 152.6 quarterback rating. This game was, I know Belichick was just like, yeah. I felt like this game, the momentum swung on that first quarter interception that when New England were going to try to tie the game. Once they got down 14, their game plan of ball control and running the ball and keeping the ball out of Buffalo's hands was gone to the wayside. That crowd was pumped. They was ready, and yeah, they put foot all up Bill Belichick, and I didn't want to call it because I seen Belichick, get his butt beat a few weeks prior and come back and have a different scheme and find a way to win the game. But yeah, this was ugly. I kind of felt bad for him. Dujunne, what do you say? Did you double mute yourself, Dujunne?
No, my internet is jumping in and out on me here.
Oh boy, what fun! We all have those fun internet issues sometimes.
Yep.
I've been having internet issues all day myself, so I feel for you. Um, but and LA just scored a touchdown to make it 21-0 with 8 minutes left in the first half. So I just want to give a quick little scoring update. But Disney, what are your thoughts?
This is comes down to experience, and the bottom line is that the hoodie is one of the greatest coaches to ever coach, but he just doesn't. It's very hard to do when you have an inexperienced quarterback, and it shows in the playoffs. So they tried to do what they had been doing all season. You saw them stumble towards the end of the season, and Orchard Park is hard to play in. That crowd, they're hungry for success. They're ready for success. They're primed for success. And they've been looking to do this to them for a long time. And when they jumped on them early, it was pretty much over. Defensively, everything was clicking. And when you get buried like that in the first half, it's really hard to recover. I mean, really, the stats that they were able to put up pretty much garbage time for them, in the second half. And kudos to them. They were able to keep fighting or whatever, and they didn't quit. That's not Belichick in any type of Belichick coach team, but they were whooped from the time the whistle blew, and at the half it was over. So kudos to them, to the Bills, and on to the next one for them. And I know that Bills Mafia is pretty happy about that, and they're hoping they can get back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the way they looked against New England, they definitely looking like they're poised to make that run, to the elusive Super Bowl that they haven't been able to, capture. But
I do have one thing to say about that game, though. I'm just super happy that they ran up the score on them just for all the times that Bill, did it to all these other teams, and some people are always like, don't do that, it's sportsmanship. It's like if the tables were turned, he would have done that to you.
He would have run the scoreboard.
Yeah, so he's known for it.
They have a lot of pent up frustration with Belichick and Brady, what they did to them for over a decade. So I mean,
you got that right.
Yeah, I'm not even surprised they angry. They've been bullied for a long time, and they said we ain't kids no more, Craig. We grown now.
Exactly.
Yeah, and they've been having some bad luck in the playoffs, and they've been just like one of those teams that's about to break through for a couple of seasons now. And so they're playing some good football. I mean, I think they're a dangerous team in this playoffs, and I look forward to talking about them in their next matchup when we get to that, for sure.
All right, let's get to the game that everyone wants to talk about. San Francisco 49ers defeated the Dallas Cowboys 23-17. Jimmy G, 16 for 25, 172 yards, no touchdowns, one interception, 67.4 quarterback rating. Dak Prescott, 23 for 43, 254 yards, one touchdown, one interception, 69.3 quarterback rating. This is another classic game of Kyle Shanahan sometimes outthinking himself. He had the game pretty much in hand with the game plan he had in the first half, and all of a sudden, he switched up. Dallas got back in the game, which they always do, late in the game. And, a lot of folks, I'll let y'all elaborate on it because, like I said, I'm not really too much invested in this game. I'm not really happy 49ers won. And I am happy the Cowboys lost, but I wish both of them would have lost. But there was a play at the end of the game that there was some so-called controversy about. I'll let Robbie and DujunneaB break that down because, like I said, I don't have a dog in this fight. I could really care less. But
Right.
the
I'll give my thoughts first, and then I'll get DujunneaB's take on this. I was very happy. This is the game I watched the closest. I was rooting for like heartbreak, and I got it exactly the way that I wanted it. Like they thought they had it, and it was taken away, and they thought they had it again, taken away. It was great, and I was so happy I didn't have a team in it. I didn't have to deal with that anxiety. I have so many friends that are Cowboys fans. I married into a family from Texas, so many Cowboys fans. And I got so much shit, especially when they lost that horrible game a couple weeks back, which I agree was a blowout. But they were like, we're going to the Super Bowl. Every week I heard it. They were going to the Super Bowl this year. Going to the Super Bowl. All they got was one extra game this year. One extra game, a worse draft pick, and, a lot of butthurt fans. And it was fantastic. But the play that's in question is, like, they got to get the ball to the lineman faster, especially when there's only, like, less than 14 seconds left. And I don't understand why you run the ball there. It's absolutely insane to me. And then people are like, oh, he should have spotted it, and he didn't get out of the way. And I'm like, well, he should have given the ball to the guy to spot faster. And it's just I can't believe they'd make that call. They called to call the running play there. But anyway, DujunneaB, what are your thoughts on the end of the game or any other aspect of the game that you want to talk about?
I'll start with the end of the game first. There's no controversy. It's Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy being poor coaches. To try to justify, well, do you want to take shots from the 50 or the 20? It doesn't matter. They're Hail Marys. Doesn't matter. I don't care. It's Hail Marys. Dak should have got down earlier. You only got 14 seconds. Third, you immediately hand it to the umpire. All he had to do is touch it. Okay? You got your 4 chunky butts hanging over the ball, blocking it from the guy who just simply needs to touch the ball. You guys killed it. Don't blame the referees. And the thing of it is, to me, is the entitlement of this football team and the coaching staff to think that they're entitled to something, that they are owed something, when you ain't earned anything. You didn't earn anything in any big game this year. That's the problem. This coaching staff, and I don't have a dog in the fight, period. This media person. But my problem is that I just wanted to prove a point. It's what I've been talking about all season long with Mike McCarthy and Kellen Moore. And I have a lot of people that I talk to that are Dallas Cowboy fans that agree with me. There are some, though, that just wanted to act like that this matchup was so much better for them. Well, look at this Arizona Rams game right now. They can't even score. But you wanted to play the 49ers. With that coaching staff, you wanted to play the 49ers. Okay, and you're sitting home right now. I have a problem with McCarthy and Kellen Moore. A big problem. You got 14 penalties, which was a franchise record. This team was unprepared, undisciplined, and they were like that all year. They were the most penalized team in the league.
They were lucky that they were playing a team that was also almost equally incompetent. I mean, the Trent Williams, giving them some plays at the end of the game. They just got even lucky to even be in it at that point.
It's absurd. It's just absurd that these things get overlooked. And I'm going to say this on my podcast, but I'm going to say it here too. Dallas fans need to stop buying the train and running the train and acting and listening to Jerry Jones that promises you the moon every year, and you guys can't even get to space. Okay? You're nothing but a glorified Washington football team. And let me clarify why. Yeah, sure, you may have a winning record, or you may get to 500 every year. Sure. You get to appear in a playoff game only to get foots handed in your butts to get sent back to the couch with everybody else in your division. So you get to be up on the division and go to the playoffs to only get bounced out every year. But you guys buy up all the gear. You come in there. we're going to the Super Bowl every year, like Washington fans used to do back in the day. Every time they changed the coach, every time they brought in some new quarterback, Donovan McNabb, Mike Shanahan coaches. Y'all need to stop. When are y'all going to start not buying gear and not showing up to the stadium? Because isn't this getting old? Y'all have a talented football team with a lot of talent that I like. I even use you as examples. But your coaching staff is terrible. You know what? You're not going to have any better coaching staff than what you got, because Jerry Jones is not going to allow any other type of coaches in there, because he doesn't want people that are going to have control. He likes people that he can stick his hand up their butts and puppet. Mike McCarthy is a puppet. Oh, he won a Super Bowl, right, with Mike Holmgren's guys. Me or you or Carroll could have won the Super Bowl with what they had over there. He won one. How many did he win after that? I'll wait. Exactly. None. And he ain't winning none with you. It's very clear. So you can get rid of Kellen Moore and you can bring in another offensive coordinator. But the discipline and the lack of discipline is ridiculous. I'll close with this. Dak Prescott okaying what happened with those fans, I'm disappointed in you, my man. Because that star is like bled into your brain. That sense of entitlement is bled into your brain. Again, you guys haven't earned a thing. You went out there and you laid a dud. I mean, I went and called the first set of plays that they were going to run before the game ever even started. I was talking to my father-in-law about the game before it ever even started, way before it started. And they went out there and did exactly what I thought they would do. And of course, Dallas comes up and throws this miracle crap that, like they always do, get back in the game, and then they break y'all hearts, and y'all become memes, crying and boo-hooing and whatever else y'all doing, fighting in the concourse and throwing trash on the daggone field.
I can't believe that they did that. Especially because it's like their own team's fault. Like, they're just going to trash the play. And they have a terrible record in that new stadium. That stadium is not like
That's another reason why I picked the 49ers. That stadium ain't the old stadium, baby. It has no type of aura, nothing. But y'all got to quit. And y'all need to get on the train of what the Washington football team fans are doing. You see, y'all laugh about all the opposing team fans being in there. But some of these fans just stood up and say, you know what? Enough is enough. Start making some hard sell changes and show me something, and I'll get back on board and stop blowing smoke up my behind. And they have started to make some moves. But I ain't going to get too hardcore in there because we talking about you. But Jerry going to continue to do that. He's the new Al Davis. And sadly, ain't nothing going to change until Jerry, I hate to say this, is gone. So keep talking Super Bowl until you gone. But until Jerry is here, as long as Jerry's here, this is what you get. So enjoy Mike McCarthy until he finds another puppet that he can train and do the same thing with. And you'll still be winning the divisions, maybe, at least 500, missing playoffs or going to playoffs and get bumped out and embarrassed in the first round. It's a shame, really, especially with the amount of talent that's on that football team. But please, miss me with all the bull crap. Miss me with all the bull crap. Tried to tell you.
So we have a lot of people in our Twitch chat. It's a very rowdy group in there, and a bunch of people from like New Jersey area and stuff like that. And they're all saying, that McCarthy likes to lose. Like it's part of his nature. It's
Thank you, because it is.
McCarthy's like a Jay.
Look at his track record.
Yeah, McCarthy's just like a Jay Gruden. Got in, under Holmgren, under the so-called Holmgren tree, and he parlayed a championship out of that. And other than that, he's mediocre at best, but because of his name and because of who
Jay Gruden 2.0.
Pretty much.
That's what I call it.
Maybe
Jay Gruden 2.0.
I mean, it's the truth, but some of these folks don't deserve to be coaching, but they're in there because they know somebody or they came up under somebody and they.
This ain't because he knows somebody. This is because Jerry don't want nobody that has control. That's why Bill Parcells was out of there so fast. Bill Parcells wanted to do some wholesale change. They had an opportunity to win a Super Bowl with that team. Bill Parcells wasn't going to be a puppet. He wasn't going to have his name tarnished by no Jerry Jones because Jerry wanted to be a coach and an owner and GM. No, Parcells was out. That's why Jimmy had to bounce out because, see, Jerry thought it was him. That's why Jason, and I hate to say it, but you know what? Jason Garrett, some of that may be on him. A lot of that is on Jerry. Because, again, Jerry likes puppets.
He's his own, like, he has his own shows. Like, what other owners have their own shows? Like,
but we talking about Dan Snyder all the time. Nobody talks about Jerry Jones as much, but we talk about Dan Snyder so much. But Jerry sabotages his own team repeatedly for 20-some years. He should get the same. He should get the same venom. But Dallas fans love this man, and they go out. I'm telling you, Dallas fans, you just need to realize they are a overhyped version of the Washington football team. Simple as that. And until y'all start doing what Washington football team fans started doing several years ago to get this train moving, y'all gonna be the same old thing. One and done or 500.
DujunneaB, real quickly, because I want to get your thoughts. You know, the Washington team has tried to change their image over these last 2 years as they build to whatever is happening on, Groundhog's Day. And, they put a woman in charge of, the media side of things. We've gotten to interview her. She was phenomenal.
Yes.
They've changed, the team president, to Jason Wright. They've supposedly put Tanya more in charge of day-to-day operations and even taken Dan Snyder away from, what we're doing. Do you think it's working? Do you think it's just smoke and mirrors? Or what do you buy what's happening there in the culture shift?
Some of it I do, some of it I do not. But I'm going to say this: fans have to realize, and I'm going to go with what Carol always says. If you're not willing to buy in and you tired, then go on. Because don't expect an overnight change when this has been years of despair and like bad management that's been going on. It's not a snap of a finger and this stuff's going to change. They have to get this stuff in place and it has to build. So do I think they're going in the right direction? Absolutely. And we just have to allow this stuff to take hold, take root, and allow it to grow. Notice what I said. We planted seeds now. It has to take root, fertilize, take root, and it has to grow. So it hadn't even had time to take root yet. There's still things that are still coming out that we had to come out this year that ain't got nothing to do with this coaching staff, that they gotta go and pull that weed out, shake the dirt off, get that stuff out of here. They're still cleaning stuff that they have to, they sifting through, getting them weeds out of there from the wheat. You get what I'm saying? So once they get these things out and they start putting in new things in there, allow that stuff to take root and grow, and we'll start seeing a lot more changes. But it's just going to take time. And I think they're moving in the right direction. They're trying. You got to at least give them that, man. I mean, we can't always, throwing Moloch cocktails in there and it be negative all the time. I say the same thing about NHRA, there's a lot of things I'd like to see different, but you got to, be positive with some of the things and a lot of things that they are trying to do. So it's the same thing here. Everything's not going to change overnight. You got to give it time to grow. And they are planting the right seeds. And there's a lot of good seeds that they have planted. So let them take root and let's see the process and that maturation process and let them grow. Now, do you want to be here for the growth of this process and this product? It may not be exactly how we want it. We may not, the way they roll it out may not be exactly the way we wanted it to be rolled out. And it may have some bugs, you know what I mean? But they're trying to do their best. So you're either on board with it or you're not. And if you're not, then as Carol says, there's another team down the road.
There are a lot of them. So,
There's 31 other ones, so you can pick one.
From other countries that pick teams across
Yep.
the board, so like you don't have to pick the team in your local. I know one person who's from Philly who's a diehard Cowboys fan.
Bro, exactly. We got Cowboys fans in the Washington, D.C. area that ain't never been there. So you get what I'm saying? Like, y'all got 31 other teams you can choose if you are absolutely emotionally and just physically, emotionally, just done with the Washington team. And we all totally will understand and support you in that 2022 move and resolution to move on from the Washington team. As a reporter, I support you in that as well. But at the end of the day, if you're gonna be here, then just understand that it's not gonna be something that's just going to be, some kind of magic trick and poof. It's just going to be, everything's going to be good. It was a lot of things that were done that need to be undone, and it's going to take time to get that ball rolling, get the people in place, get the seeds planted, and then let them things take root, let it grow, and see the maturation process, and let those things grow and see where we go from there. So, but I do think those seeds that they have planted, great. Julie Donaldson, excellent seed to have been planted. And I like the direction that they've gone there in the media side. And there could be some more diversity. I will say that, being in the media side, but they have put some good pieces in place. And they do a very good job of promoting Washington football and doing a better job of doing that. It's nice to see women in the forefront taking that and spearheading that as well. And she does an excellent job of spearheading that and being a pioneer for Washington football. So, I do think that things are moving in the right direction. And just have to, just let things grow, guys. Let things grow.
Real quickly before I want to get Carol's thoughts on it too, but people still to this day are like, it's the same women-hating team that it was 2 years ago. Like, they're not even looking to see the changes. And that's just so, like, disappointing. And I know that they're just Cowboys fans trolling, but they're just like, how many women are in important power positions on your team? Or any of the other teams.
Right, exactly.
So it's easy for them to say that we're doing the wrong thing, but I'm like, I don't see it in any of the other teams. So, I mean, that's just my thought on that. But, Carol, I'll get your take.
Honestly, the whole so-called culture change and all that fans, to me, it's all bull. As I said before, the history of this team is, checkered at best. We had an owner that traded the first-round pick because he didn't want to draft a black player. Think about that. And you're complaining about Daniel Snyder playing fantasy football with the team, and he's the worst owner ever in the story franchise. To me, it's all bull. Because once you win, they forget about all of it. Prime example, they won 3 Super Bowls in 10 years, and all of a sudden, all the fan base forget about the other 70 years where they were 500. And it's a story. This is not the Pittsburgh Steelers with 6 rings and decades of going to the playoffs in a row. I hate to say this, ain't even the Cowboys that had decades of being on top and won Super Bowls in a row. This is the Washington football team, used to be Washington Redskins. Do your history. Go back and read and go actually, use your smartphone to get smart and not looking at twerking videos and cat videos or whatever. If you really love this team, go do some research on it. Learn that this team has been a quarterback controversy town going back to Billy Kilmer and Sonny Jurgis. So this is nothing new trying to find a quarterback. Because you think you have one, and then, there's another guy. Oh, he could be the guy. Gus Frerotte, Heath Schuler, Jay Schrader, Doug Williams, Mark Rippon. I can go down the list. Most of y'all probably don't even know those names because you don't even know about their franchise. So
and Carol, I think it's important that, what do you value in a franchise, right? I think there's a question mark of what makes a successful franchise, because in a lot of statistical categories, Washington's been in the top 10, in money made and in merchandise, and a lot
That
of these
has
big,
nothing to do with on the field product. That means
right?
they
It's
have a
true.
great PR team. This is the same
But
thing
my
I say
point though
about
is,
these multi-million-dollar rappers. That doesn't mean they're good. They have a great PR team that pushes their product that makes you want to buy it.
but that's my point though, is what does Dan want above all? Is it winning, or is it to make the bottom dollar? And
He wants
as
to
most
win.
owners,
He just didn't know how to go about it.
right? Well, and that might be so. But my whole point though is like there's different benchmarks for different teams and stuff like that. Not every team's going to win on every year. I hope that we get a better team put on the field, but they're not necessarily going to change too much if they're being successful and making money. And until it hits that point, I don't know if you would ever get a real major shift.
Right.
I mean, he ultimately wants to win. I mean, but he's a
I mean, everyone
businessman
wants to win.
also.
I don't think it's like
So
I want
it's
to
a
lose
business
to make
also.
money. Like,
Yeah, I mean, that's
Right.
the ultimate goal is a business. And, to make money. You win Super Bowls, you make more money. So
Right.
unfortunately, he started out as a businessman that owned a football team, and he treated it like fantasy football. He was just making moves, thinking, okay, I plug this person in. He's a all-star or all-pro over on this team, so I can bring him here. He'll do the same thing. And granted, he made a mistake. Then his next mistake was putting Vinny Serrato in charge. To me, that was his biggest error. All the other stuff everybody talk about, to me, that was his biggest error in him owning his team, was when he put Vinny Serrato in charge. That debacle, trading draft picks for over-the-hill veterans and everything, that was crazy. And then the man that everybody demonizes, Bruce Allen, comes in, and he fixes the salary cap issue. Now we actually have depth. We actually have rookies that's signing their 5th-year extension because they actually want to stay here. But they want to demonize him because he didn't do what, yada, yada. I'm like, you can't have it both ways. Either let the man do his job, and when he does well at it, pat him on the back. And if he doesn't, he was brought in to fix the salary, because he wasn't brought in to coach the team. He wasn't brought in to groom the quarterback. He was brought in to fix the salary cap, which is what he did. He did a beautiful job of it. That's why we have as much money in the cap, and this is going to be such a crucial offseason for this team moving forward, because they have cap room. The other players around the league have seen what's building. So as most fans crowd, nobody wants to come here. It's not a winning culture. But until you get those people to see that the organization is changing and where the focus is, with the head coach like Von Herrera, who's football oriented, I don't agree with all his decisions, but he has a good track record, and he's following his plan step by step. We were talking about Buffalo. Similar plan they were on with Sean McDermott. They definitely peaked earlier than everyone expected. Josh Allen, I didn't expect him to take such a huge step this early in his career to be where he is, but sometimes the stars align and everything lines up and does work out in your favor. Unfortunately, being a Washington football team fan, we've seen the other side of the spectrum where it never works out, whatever plan they come in with, because it's flawed, or they have a coach that doesn't want people to have more knowledge than him on the staff, i.e. you see Sean McVay in the playoffs right now, who should have been the next head coach here. Jay Gruden should have never been the head. Never mind, I'm going back in time. I don't want to go there. But the team is on the right path. They headed in the right direction. And it takes time. Yes, other teams can go from worst to first, and then they're Cincinnati, and yeah. But as the fans all complain about, this organization is like no other. So why are you going to try to compare it to somebody else? Well, they did this and they did that. But they didn't have a GM that was trading first round draft picks for 30-year-old veterans, and wondering how come we have no depth and we have no talent. So just the whole culture change thing. I'm like, once you win, nobody cares. Honestly, nobody cares. And the whole anti-women thing, I mean, come on now. They have a assistant running back female coach. They have Judy Donaldson. They have plenty of females on that staff to show that they're trying to change the culture. And if you still want to point fingers and bring up all of these, conspiracy theories or whatever. That's cool, but it is what it is. The team is going in the right direction, and I can't wait to see how everything falls out, especially with this off season. That I can't wait to see how it goes down.
For sure. All right, let's get into the two other games that happened on Sunday, and then I know we wanted to quickly talk about the upcoming ones. So we could talk Washington football for hours.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Let's just do a quick run through, finish this up. Kansas City doubled up Pittsburgh to end Ben Roethlisberger's Pittsburgh career.
Thankfully.
Yeah, I'm glad I didn't make that bet. I thought it was going to be Pittsburgh and Tampa. I thought the NFL was going to try to make some, historic thing happen. But yeah, beat Pittsburgh bad, 42-21. Big Ben went 29 for 44, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 97.5 quarterback rating. Mahomes went 30 for 39, 404 yards, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception, 138.2 quarterback rating. After Pittsburgh got an early defensive score, Kansas City said, yeah, we're not going for that, and proceeded to put up the next 21 points, and after that, it was pretty much over. That damn Kelsey, man, that dude is a hell of a tight end.
He sure is.
5 catches, I think the Steelers had to start better than they did. They had their worst first quarter in the Ben Roethlisberger playoff era, and they couldn't afford to do that. They had to start quicker against Kansas City because Kansas City can put up major numbers. And so, I mean, I think that they were dead in the water when they couldn't put up numbers in the first because they basically had to take the lead early and hope that they could hold on in a wild shootout. But, I don't think it was ever in the cards. I mean, I said it last week. I thought Kansas City was going to kind of crush them. They should never even been in the playoffs. Pittsburgh, that is. They got lucky that 2 overtime games went the way that they did to even make it. But it was no surprise to me.
Yep, no surprise.
Yeah, that was pure domination. And, excuse me, the 5th game of Wild Card Weekend, Tampa Bay handily defeated Philly 31-15. Jalen Hurts, 23 for 43, 258 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, 60 quarterback rating. Tom Brady, 29 for 37, 271 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, 115.2 quarterback rating. This game pretty much went the way I figured it would go. Philly's run game didn't really get going. Tampa had a very good defensive scheme to throw off their timing, I guess you can say, because they really didn't get into a groove until the second half. I'm not sure if they were giving Hurts different looks or stuff that he hadn't seen, or if they were spying him. I didn't really get a chance to pay close attention to see what they were doing to, contain him. Excuse me. He had an interception. Unfortunately, in the red zone, they were trying to get some points, and Tom Brady was just being Tom Brady, and led Tampa Bay at home.
And, I'm not going to blame Jalen, and I'm tired of Philly fan, which they throw away everything good that they do, but I'm tired of Philly fan coming down on Jalen Hurts. I'm blaming coaching because the same things that I see Jalen Hurts struggle with is the same things that I see all year. And it's either the head coach or it's the quarterback coach. The interception you speak of, okay? I didn't have a problem with the throw. The throw was late. And the reason being is, so he comes out, when he steps out, as soon as he saw the corner drop, he needed to release the ball immediately. He waits until I guess he felt like he saw him open. I don't know, or he felt it was good enough, but you had a safety over the top. The safety was in the middle of the field. Now, that tells you how quick that safety is coming across the field to pick that ball off, but he threw it late. The safety came over, picked it off, got 2 feet in bounds, and intercepted it. But if he throws that ball on time, that's a touchdown. And you see that with a lot of throws with Jalen. It's not so much that it's a throw is bad, it's just late. Mm-hmm. And that is working on it in practice. That's looking at the film, quarterback's coach working with him and getting that timing down and understanding that, hey, man, you're going to have to get the ball out sooner. Or that's making an adjustment in play calling and getting him to help him get the ball out sooner. So he understands, so he can get a better understanding of how to get the ball out sooner. That's 3-step drops and getting the ball out. Game plan was not up to par. Now, obviously, they did a very good job of stopping the run with them, making them one-dimensional. Didn't help that they got up on them. I didn't think they were up. It wasn't a game that Tampa had where they were dominating them to the point where it was, impossible for them to get back in the game, at least 2.5 quarters of football. You know what I mean? But that, I don't think Jalen is a bad quarterback. I think it's coaching. There's a lot of things, a lot of places in the league where coach is the problem, but I think that is the problem. It is coaching. And you see the same things, same little things happening over and over and over during the year. You have to ask yourself a question. It's the coach's job to coach this guy up. He's got plenty of talent. And it's very clear that he can throw the ball in because he has spectacular games at times, but there's times where his skill set suffers. And I believe it's definitely hinges on either your quarterback coach or the head coach. But Tampa ain't gonna get away with doing what they did against Philadelphia, against the Rams. They're not gonna get away with that.
I mean, it goes back to, as our friend of the show, Arun, goes back to RG3 with the same thing. With these quarterbacks, these young black quarterbacks that have speed, they rather incorporate the zone read or, some of the college stuff instead of developing these young quarterbacks and showing them, learning how to read defenses and to go through your progressions and to do what needs to be done. They'd rather take a shortcut and just say, okay, just break the pocket. The first read ain't there. Just break the pocket. You're fast. You're athletic. Make something happen. And you have to put that time in. And that's why I say that's the difference in between, young athletic. I'm not just going to say black because there's some athletic white quarterbacks also. You see the same thing with Taylor Heineke. He does the same thing. If Reed wasn't there, he'd just break the pocket, try to make something happen. Then you saw him developing and making his reads and hitting check down and not trying to throw in a double coverage, trying to make something happen. And you see him developing. And unfortunately, we see that with young, minority or young mobile quarterbacks that they take the shortcut. They don't want to teach them how to read defense. They just want them to be explosive and break the pocket. And, they don't want to take the time or the patience to teach them how to, read defenses and go through your progressions and your check downs and all of that stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this was never going to be a close game. It's why I didn't want the Washington football team to squeak in and get this game, because I felt if they had gone into Tampa Bay, a similar situation could have happened. I know we beat them at home, and
should have beat them last year too. Then
and I know you feel that way, but I still think that we could have beat them. This could have also happened to us, especially with the injuries and COVID protocols and stuff like that. Yeah, if we're fully healthy, maybe it's a different story, but we weren't going to be, and it was it's such a tough season. But anyway, I'm just happy because I was rooting against the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Patriots, and the Steelers, and I got 0 for 4. So we're able to have this bracket be without those 4 teams going forward. So that makes me happy. Real quickly, I always want to talk about your guys' thoughts on this. The Cardinals, they started the season so well, and the Rams have just kind of dominated the rest of the season, and it's kind of going that way in this game. We're just into the second half now. LA is still up 21-0, but I'll start with DujunneaB. What are your thoughts on this matchup?
It turned out to be pretty much what I thought. I was not expecting Akers to come back. I wasn't expecting to see him back out there, which is a big deal. They were able to pick up a few guys, but I think this is a combination of Kyler Murray being young. This is a combination of a young football coach in Kingsbury They've been struggling in the last half of the year, and I think this is what we're seeing here. It's just youth in understanding and really understanding the moment, understanding these big time games, understanding the end of the season and how things get tougher as you get late in the season. Kyler Murray is a young quarterback. I thought they could do some things differently. Obviously, they're missing D Hop, but I still think they got enough talent to be able to get the job done. They're just not doing. They're just not doing it. They're not executing well. And I think it's just a combination of all of that. It's nice to see JJ Watt back out there, but it's just not enough. Not enough for that Rams squad, which I figured they'd be prepared. I still don't think they have. I still don't think the Rams have enough to make it to the Super Bowl at all. But I do think they got enough to potentially, after what we saw with Tampa, I do think they have enough to beat Tampa Bay, because Tampa looks like I've been saying, they look like a wild card team, like they were last year. It's just but again, we don't know which Rams club you're gonna get. But right now, they look pretty stout. They look like they're clicking right now. So it's interesting.
Stafford just got a hell of a hit on him on that last one, but he's now under center again, 1st and 10. They're up 21-0. They look pretty good. I definitely can't go against Tampa Bay, especially if that's where the game is going to be played. I think that they are a much better team at home than they are on the road. So I think that has a significant impact on that. Carol, what are your thoughts on this matchup, the Cardinals in LA, and then going forward against Tampa Bay?
This game is pretty much playing out the way I figured it would. Stafford, hungry, Rams, loaded. Defense, top ranked. Arizona's been falling off her since they 8-0 start. Going forward, I'm not impressed with Tampa Bay, and the Rams can go in there and beat Tampa Bay, especially if they had a run game. I've seen them running the ball tonight against Arizona. If they can pound the ball like that and be physical with Sony Michel and the other young guy that they have, they can go into Tampa Bay and beat Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is not a world beater, and
they had a lot of 3-and-outs last week. I mean, yeah, they put some points on the board, but they had a lot of 3-and-outs last week. And against a good football team, they would have got beat last week.
Yeah,
I mean, this past weekend, they'd have got beat by. If Philly was a good football team, a solid football team, they would have gotten beat.
Yeah.
Because they had a lot of 3-and-outs. They had a lot of stalled drives.
Did you remember last week when we were talking? Well, we were talking about Dallas wanting to avoid Arizona, right?
Yes. Big mistake.
I'm just watching this game and I'm thinking, I bet they would have rather played Arizona now.
Absolutely. And I said it from the jump. That was a team that they should have wanted to face. It is the worst thing in the world to face a team that you've never played and haven't played for a while, or haven't played at all season. But then it's a team that has nothing to lose, has everything to gain, has a chip on their shoulder, and it's Kyle Shanahan. Like, I don't want no parts of that at all. And they beat the Rams. Like, it's not like they beat some dumpster fire of a team to get in the playoffs. They had to fight their way in, and they did it well. And then they're going to come in to your house with a chip on their shoulder. They know it's the Dallas Cowboys. They know it's in Dallas. I mean, they know what time it is, and they didn't even have all their players out there. That's, like I said, whatever. But my point was proven.
Right. Let's get into the other one, the San Francisco-Green Bay game. Carol, what are your thoughts on that one?
That's definitely a winnable game for San Francisco. They run the ball, control the clock, and keep Mr. Rogers on the sideline. It's possible. They got a quality defense that can do it. And, like I said, I'm not a real big fan of Mr. Rogers. As I said, I'm not a big fan of Mr. Williams either. So I think San Francisco can pull the upset over Green Bay, honestly.
Interesting. I don't see it that way. I think that Green Bay is gonna smoosh San Francisco, but I will root for San Francisco just for all the craziness that happened out of Green Bay this season and lying about status and all that sort of stuff. They can go kick rocks. I'll root for San Francisco all day in this game, but I still don't think they're gonna beat Green Bay. But Dujunne, what are your thoughts?
Oh man, Carol.
Green Bay
I,
has
I,
a
I feel
suspect
you.
run
I
defense.
feel you to an extent, but
They-
then I look at what Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy Gagg was about ready to do to me, and ruin my whole entire night and my whole entire prediction when he wanted to go. Jimmy got sold, and Jimmy throw interception, and Kyle Shanahan wants to be and show how show the Shanahan way. It's going to come down to Aaron Rodgers. And I hate to say that. I got to swallow a little throw up right there. It's going to come down to Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers is going to beat them because Kyle Shanahan is going to go Kyle Shanahan because he can't get out of his own way. It's in Green Bay, too. I picked Green Bay to be in the Super Bowl. I can't go against that pick. I see Green Bay winning this football game. It was nice. I think they will fight very well. The 49ers will. Hopefully they will get Bosa back. I believe they also lost Fred Warner as well. So hopefully they'll get those two guys back. That's going to be important for them on the defensive side of the ball. I know that the run game is going to be important for them, and it's going to be important in Lambeau. But at the end of the day, in the fourth quarter, I think that's going to be the difference. And of course, Kyle Shanahan in the fourth quarter went Kyle Shanahan and almost gave up the ghost. That was against Dak Prescott and his two goons, McCarthy and Kellen Moore. That won't be the case with Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. It's a Packers win, and they go on.
Only reason that gave me confidence to take San Francisco is this that Elijah Mitchell, 27 carries, 96 yards, 3.6 yard average, and 1 touchdown. I'm thinking Cal is going to learn from his debacle this past weekend because they had the game under control. They were running the ball.
23-3.
They were getting, he would throw a little fancy play out there, try to outthink the other coach, but then he went back to running the ball. But then, like you said, he wanted to show, Jimmy G's my quarterback, and then, made the game more interesting.
23-3.
But the fact that they have Mitchell, who I feel like Cal has confidence in him, because he was saying that when they had Raheem Mostert, and he felt like he could depend on him, that he can give him the ball to run the clock out. I think that he's building that confidence with Mitchell, and now that he's back healthy, and knowing they're going into Lambeau, and they're going to need the run game because it's probably going to be snowing, cold, all that good stuff.
How about Debo, though?
And that's the thing I like about Kyle. And that's another
I like
factor.
Debo.
The way they get him the ball, running the ball, catching the ball, screens, jet sweeps, all of that. And he runs physical. I've heard his name before, and I know I think he was maybe even first round draft pick for them.
Mm-hmm.
But the way he runs the ball, he runs angry.
Yeah. For a wide receiver.
Yeah. He runs. He like somebody stole his lunch money before he got to the stadium.
I'm telling you. I'm still going Green Bay.
Hey man,
As
like I
most
said,
people would.
yeah, I'm not sold on that Aaron Rodgers myth. I don't see it, man. I just don't.
It hurts me. It pains me to have to say that, but I don't trust Kyle. I don't trust Kyle, and I don't trust Jimmy Gagg. They almost got me. Jimmy got sold, almost blew it. He almost blew it for me with all that. They trying to. I don't know what he was trying to prove. Him and Kyle. I don't know what they were trying to prove.
His dad must have texted him
just
during
about
the game,
killed
so
it.
His dad
But
must have texted him during the game or something. He felt like he had something to prove.
can't have all of that.
So the line is 5.5, right? So would you? I think, yeah, I think the Packers are going to beat them by more than 5.5, personally. But,
Yeah, probably. I think it's five. I think it's gonna be 10. I don't think it's gonna be like 14 or 17. It'd be about
Right.
10.
Yeah, that I can see, or a touchdown.
Like I said, I remember the game that Green Bay played the Washington football team, and the Washington football team didn't make a couple of mistakes. They should have beat Green Bay. As I say, Green Bay doesn't seem that formidable to me. I mean, when they get the running game going and they got a lead, yeah, you in trouble. But if it's a playoff game, snow,
It's in Lambeau.
It's in Lambeau, man.
8:15 at night. It's going to be cold. Whether or not it's
Yeah,
snowing.
they ain't ready.
I don't know, man.
I would agree that the 49ers have nothing to lose, kind of like last week, but at they're playing with house money. I just don't see going into Lambeau.
As Trent Baby Williams said when he come walking out that daggone tunnel, they saying the same thing at that time in Lambeau. Now it's not safe for you. It's cold, baby.
Yeah, I know. It's gonna be interesting. Very, very interesting. Yeah, 8:15 start. Yeah, it's definitely gonna be cold out there in Lambeau.
Yeah, that's going to be on Fox. The other game that's on Saturday is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Tennessee Titans. The Titans have been great. They're the team that got the bye. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, in previous years, there's been 2 bye teams. It's not always been great for them to have a couple of weeks off right before. I personally think the Titans are much better than Cincinnati. They should be able to win. It's only 3.5 points right now for Tennessee, and that's a 4:30 start on CBS. I'll go to Carol first. What are your thoughts on Cincinnati versus Tennessee?
I really don't see Tennessee that big of a gap over Cincinnati. I mean, they're a different team without Derrick Henry. They adapted, and like I said, they got the first, the top seed in the AFC. But this Bengals team, now that they got that 31-year-old monkey off their back, and Jamar Chase is a problem. Joe Burrow, they have a nice connection. I believe they played at college together. And, they got Mixon as the running back. They got a nice wide receiver core. They got a nice young tight end that can get down the seam. And we saw the Titans, stumble a little bit when Henry went out. And if they can, Cincinnati can get a lead and make Tennessee a little bit uncomfortable and get out of their, run-heavy offense and put the ball in Tannehill's hands. We've seen Tannehill throw some interceptions in bad times, so I'm going to go with the upset special, another one, man. I think Cincinnati can beat Tennessee this weekend.
All right. DujunneaB?
I'm going with Cincinnati. I think this week off is bad for Tennessee. I do not trust Tannehill on a bye week. I know they are getting Henry back, but that is a foot injury. You just don't come back off a foot injury and he ain't going to return to what he was doing in the regular season. That ain't happening. Not at all. And it's cold out there. Nah, bruh. That ain't happening at all. I think Cincinnati's on a roll, and you're facing a hot team, and you coming off a bye week rested. The worst thing they can do right now is be coming into this game and really coming off a bye week. The question is how quickly is Tennessee going to be able to get their offense going? You know what I mean? Are they gonna start slow? Will Cincinnati come out, get a quick touchdown, and get up on them quick? We'll see. But I'm taking the Cincinnati Bengals to win this game. I just think that right now they're playing very well. They're playing good team ball. If Zach Taylor cannot get in the way as the head coach and not start feathering the throttle towards the end of the game and keep the pedal down, they'll be all right. I really do expect Tannehill to put one up for a pick. To kind of cost them this football game. Turnovers will be key, and I think the Natty will come out on top on this one.
Yeah, interesting. it comes down to the running game, whether or not it comes back or not. I mean, it could, and then I think that they're just really dangerous. I was looking at their last 5. Both of them have won 4 out of their last 5 going into this.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so they're in a similar position. So it should make for a really good matchup. Again, that's going to be at 4:30 on CBSN. The one other matchup that we haven't really talked about too much yet is that Bills Chiefs one. That one's going to be 6:30 on Sunday. The 3 o'clock game on Sunday will be the winner of this, which is now 28-0 LA. So probably LA versus the Buccaneers. That'll be a 3 o'clock game in Tampa Bay, and that one will be on. Yes. But anyway, the Bills and the Chiefs is the other one. So those are 2 teams that have been in the playoffs a lot lately. I think the Bills have been close, but not quite made that next step to be championship level. The Chiefs have been right there at Super Bowls. It'll be interesting to see if it's in Kansas City, but will the Bills finally get over that hump and make it to a championship game? And then to hopefully to the Super Bowl, or does Kansas City, get in their way? I'll start with you, DujunneaB. What are your thoughts?
I'm going with Bills Mafia. I think it's the slow start for me. Kansas City got off to a slow start against a team that scored 13 points in their last game to get in the playoffs. They too often get off to slow starts. I expect Buffalo to be ready. This is a team that's kind of got in their way over the last couple of years and caused them to come up short. I don't expect them to allow this to happen again. They got after New England and got up on them early. I think they're going to try to get up on them early as well. And it's going to be in Kansas City, so they want to try to silence this crowd a little bit. The cold weather, if it's cold, it ain't going to matter to them. Orchard Park is nice and crispy, so it ain't going to matter to them. It's a lot colder over there, so I expect them to get up on them early. I expect both teams to score a considerable amount of points, but I think this is going to be Bills Mafia day, and they go on.
Yeah, this game is the one on CBS. The other one, the Rams probably against the Buccaneers. That one's on NBC. I wanted to double check that. And but Carol, what are your thoughts on this Bills versus Kansas City?
It's definitely going to be an interesting matchup. 2 cold weather teams, Kansas City looking to get back to that Super Bowl. Buffalo trying to get to the Super Bowl. Josh Allen with something to prove. I think Kansas City defense did play pretty well. This is a tough one. This is a coin flip right here. I guess I'm gonna go. Guess I gotta go with Buffalo after see the way they manhandled the hoodie. They had something to prove. They proved it. Won the divisions 2 years in a row. I think I'm gonna go with Buffalo.
Yeah. It's a tough one for me. I think I'm gonna go Kansas City just because they've been there. But I mean, Buffalo's a great team. It's hard to go against them. I understand why you guys are picking them. Interesting play here. Not that it's a very close game, but Arizona did score a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. But then there was a flag on the play. I didn't catch what the flag was.
Before the touchdown, it got a little out of hand. Aaron Donald and one of the offensive linemen got into a kind of a tussle. The offensive lineman helmet came off, and it looks like Aaron Donald attempted to choke him, and he got a personal foul. Then Arizona just scored, and still getting a little chippy out there.
Yeah, 8-24 though. But I'd be shocked if they come back. But I've seen crazier things happen. I thought that a game was down 15 and I turned it off, and then I found out it was an overtime and rushed to my TV just a couple weeks ago. So, it's you never know in today's NFL. But it's going to be an interesting slate of games. I look forward to next week, breaking down the championship games and how these 4 games pan out, so to speak. But Dujunne, any final thoughts on the NFL playoffs as it's happening?
Nah, man, I think it's been a great playoffs. I think it's probably been one of the best. I know we had, a couple games get away from us, as far as scores go, but that's going to happen. But overall, I thought we had some great finishes, some controversial, I won't say controversial finishes, but just some wild finishes. That adds to the to the fun of the sport. But looks like we're gonna, it's gonna keep trucking. Gonna have some new teams out there that we're gonna be able to watch, and it's gonna be fun, man. It's gonna be fun.
You like the new format to have 7 teams in and take one away from the bye week?
I do. I think it's going to get better. This year is kind of, we're going to have to learn to work with COVID. And I think COVID and injuries. And then, of course, some of the teams are just really young. And it's going to cause teams to be a little bit more strategic as well, as far as who they bring in as coaches and how they build. It's exposing some things that we've just allowed to just happen. You know what I mean? Like the hiring of some coaches that don't have any business being coaches, the anointing of young quarterbacks to be starters just because a quarterback is struggling. You draft a quarterback and he automatically should be the starter. Not grooming these young quarterbacks the way that they need to be, as if every quarterback that is drafted in the first round is ready to go. I think it's going to change some things. And also these new leagues that are coming out is going to help a lot of things too. But I think we're going to see better play next year from the number 7 teams. But I think it's the right thing to do. It's the first year, and it just so happens to be in a year where COVID kind of blew up again, and really didn't help a lot of teams when it came down towards the end. And next year hopefully we'll have some better play out of those bottom half teams. But I do like the 7-team format.
Carl, what are your thoughts on that?
No, I definitely agree. I never did like the 2 teams with buys. If you get the top seed, you should earn the bye. Number 2, there's no reason you should have it. And it gives another team opportunity to get in, especially with the extra game during the season. So it just seems like it makes sense and led up to some exciting wild card weekend. And can't wait to see how much more exciting it gets going forward, because it's definitely it's time for a change, and it's good to see they did make some changes, and it's been enjoyable so far.
Yeah, I liked it too, and it's cool that we get to live Monday Night Football talk about a game as it goes on. I mean, we've never gotten a Monday Night Football game before, so for the playoffs. So that's a cool little feature just for our podcast and something going forward that we'll continue to do. Because I saw that Disney ABC made a deal, or ESPN. So this is going to go on for a bunch of years. It's not like the Monday night one's is a temporary thing. They decided this past September, I want to say. So it's a more recent decision to be able to have these games. But I'm happy that they made that decision versus having 3 on Saturday and 3 on Sunday, which they could have done as well. But yeah, so I appreciate, Dujunne, your time as always. And let everyone know what you're talking about on your shows this week.
We're gonna talk about the playoffs a little bit. We're gonna talk a little bit about the little Cowboys deal and what they need to do better going forward. We're gonna talk about the Wizards, man. What a game! What a game they had today. And I love what's going on there with their team. And we're gonna talk about how they're, seems like they're starting to get things together. It's not always consistent, but we're not even to the All-Star break yet. So we're gonna talk a little bit of Wizards, and that's pretty much going to be it. We're going to talk about the playoff matchups coming up for the weekend. So that's going to be the segments for the show this week. And I'll be on the Not Bland show, which is on Ghostcast, and I'm going to talk a little NHRA We have some news that have come out, and we'll talk about testing that's going to be coming up here real soon. Nitro testing in Phoenix as we get into the what we like to call the training camp season for nitro cars as they start going testing, getting ready for the 2022 NHRA Camping World drag racing season.
Yeah, I just saw a vicious collision in this football game. LA is just driving, and they're going down the field very quickly. It's already first and goal, and ran over a player on Arizona's side. So I hope that he is okay. But thank you, DujunneaB. I'm making a new page that will have all of our bios, all the links to the Ghost Cats and stuff like that. I'm hoping at least by the time that season 7 starts in a little over a month, that'll all be done. And I appreciate you for repping the merch and giving me a picture, and so that'll get up on there fast. But I definitely search out DujunneaB. I've been linking all your stuff on the Twitch feed tonight as well, and you can catch all the other information on the button right now on the podcast partners as well. So DujunneaB, thank you for helping us break it down, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week to talk about the how all these games play.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and thanks for the gear, man. That was a great present, and I love it. I wear it out. It's awesome. It's comfy and it's cozy. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
For sure. And whenever the NFL season is over, we'll have to have you come talk Wizards with our Wizards Roundtable for sure, and mix it up with those guys. I'm sure they would love to bring you on, and we can talk about it. Because I know today was a great game, so I'm excited to break that down in just a moment. But thank you again, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
All right, DujunneaB, take it easy, man.
All right, brother.
All right, with that, we'll bring in DC's People's Champ, and we'll talk a little bit of Wizards. It's been a really exciting week. Let me see if I can do my champ. I don't put your camera for some reason. There it is. And then let me pull up the Safari, do a little fixing on my end here to see if that looks good. I think that will work. There we go. We've got so many different screens over on Zoom, but today we've got just the two of us, as the song goes. With the but we'll do an abbreviated segment. We knew that NBA would run long, and it was a holiday, so we let a couple of the people on the team have the night off. But Champ, how are you doing tonight? You're still muted. There we go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're good.
Okay, yeah, I'm having issues with Zoom right now, but I'm here and I'm good. I guess Zoom decided to just start crapping on me since it's been so long, but I'm good. What's up, man?
All right, sounds good. We'll go through the scoring super fast, and then I really want to break down today's game the most, because that's the one that I was the most excited about, and I got to see the most of. But we're going to go back in time. We were all hoping to get 4 wins. That's what you were hoping for. I thought we would go 2-2. I think I thought, or maybe I thought 3-1. I don't know. I was wavering last week. I don't remember what I landed on, but I'm happy that we went 3-1. I know I was worried that we could potentially lose 2 of these games. The first game went well. It was a very close first quarter. OKC outscored the Wizards by 1 point, 31-30 in the first. They outscored them by 2 in the second, 30-28. The Wizards was able to make some of that back and outscored them 36-32 in the third. And then they outscored them by 3, 28-25 in the fourth for a 122-115 victory. It was a really great game. Obviously Kyle Kuzma put up 29 points. It was huge for us. Spencer Dinwiddie had 10 assists, 22 points, which is obviously really huge, especially without having Bradley Beal in the lineup. KCP was really good as well, and Corey Kispert. So it was a total team effort in this one. Champ, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, something that was noted, because I read the feedback on this, and in clutch situations, which is defined as in the final 5 minutes of a game where the score differential is 5 points or less, the Wizards went to 17-4, which means that when it gets close in the games, the Wizards win these 90 plus times out of 100. So the fact that they were able to pull this one out against this Thunder team, which this is not a good Thunder team at all, but they had to fight in order to win this one. And in KCP with the kiss off the glass to break the tie and ultimately win this game was huge. You didn't have Bradley Beal because he was back in the protocols again, but Dinwiddie was able to step up and be huge. And you were able to get the production that you needed and were able to hold off a team that is not as good as they should be. So a good win for the Wizards, but I think that with the caliber, the record that this team has, the Thunder, they should have beaten them by more than just a three-pointer in the final seconds of the game, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that assessment 100%. All right, we're going to jump ahead to the next game. It was against the Magic, another team that we should have beaten soundly. But there was moments where we were struggling. But we started off well, outscored them 33-16 in the first. And then Magic came storming back, outscored them 27-19 in the second. It was a pretty close third. The Wizards outscored them by 3, 32-29. And then the Orlando Magic really actually put together a really great fourth quarter, put up 34 points to the Wizards 28. The Wizards were able to hold Orlando off for the 112-106 victory. Kyle Kuzma again played well. We again had 6 players in double digits scoring. KCP had 10 rebounds. Kuzma had 10 rebounds. Trez had 8 rebounds. So it was a full team effort once again, which is kind of the theme of the week. What are some of your thoughts on this, Champ?
Well, you had 2 players that had double-doubles. You had Kuz, who had 19 and 10, and you had KCP, who had 12 and 10. So, again, you get the production that you need, especially when your star player is out, because Beal was still out because he was in the protocol. But, again, you went and again, this game should not have been close. The Orlando Magic is considered one of the worst teams in the NBA. And the fact that this was only a 6-point victory and not more tells you that once they get their full complement of players back, this is going to be a dangerous team. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the 76ers game. But this is going to be a dangerous team once they get their full complement of players back. But the fact that you got contributions from Kuzma and Caldwell Pope, as well as Dinwiddie, as well as Kispert, as well as Harold off the bench, Neto off the bench, you're getting quality production, and you were able to still beat a team that is one of the worst in the league in your home gym. It would have been really embarrassing to have them come into your home gym being one of the worst and absolutely run you out of the gym. So a quality win, but I feel like it could have been a lot better had they had their full complement of players.
I agree. It's interesting to hear some fans, day to day, they're saying, when Spencer's playing without Brad doing better, maybe we should trade Brad for pieces. And
What?
Of course, when you get Brad back and all their pieces are working well, they're like, well, now we don't need Denny because we already have too many forwards in rotation. He's not going to get time. And I'm like, for me, it's great to have this thing where we have depth. It's something that the Wizards have never really had. Especially come playoff time if they were to make the playoffs. And I think having defensive specialists and having other players that you can go in, like the game today, and I'll talk more about it then, like different players stepped up big at different times. And I think, when your bench can outproduce what your starters do, that's a great problem to have. And I think that different teams will have different matchups in different situations. And you want to be able to have these players like Denny that you could throw into a game off the bench to shut somebody down defensively. And so it's just kind of funny to read week to week where people wanted Rui gone a couple of weeks ago because they thought he was soft because he's been, not, playing with the team this whole entire year. And we don't know the full story of why it hasn't. And there's been rumors and there's all these things that people are like, it's not worth the headache. But Rui has come back and done well. And so it's just, I try to tell people stay medium. It's a long season, and there's a lot of injuries, and there's a lot of COVID bullshit this year. Like, having extra players is clutch and like don't try to like just trade people for things and don't try to be short-sighted. And let's just see how far we can take this team. And you want this team to be playing their best basketball at the end of the season, not now. You know, you want them to get to the end of the season. And so it's just funny to read these forums, day to day. And I'm like, I don't comment on a lot of it, but like it's just interesting to see.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't. I can't.
It's tough.
Washington D.C. sports fans are about as worse as wrestling fans. Trust me, I know.
Yeah, it's brutal at times. But it is what it is. I want people of I hope that people are coming to watch our show from these fan bases because I root for them no matter what, right? It's not like I appreciate people like DujunneaB that talk about things from the media point of view, and I know that's something that's really important for Carol to talk about from the media's point of view. But I've always come to this podcast as like a diehard fan, and I'll root for them no matter what. And I'm not cutting off any bandwagon. And just like Carol said, you can see the door if you don't like what the Washington football team is doing. And even though I don't like Commanders, I'm on record saying it now. If they're called the Commanders, I will root for the Commanders. And the same thing about the Wizards. I rooted for them when the Bullets. I don't love the name Wizards. I mean, I like Wizards. I like Harry Potter and things like that. I don't like it as a basketball team. But, it doesn't matter. I'm going to support the team because it says Washington in front of it, and that's my hometown. I grew up here. I was born in the city. I will always root for the Washington team. It's not just that I don't like other teams. I've rooted for the Lakers or the Bulls at different times in my life because I've liked people like Kobe or I've liked people like Michael Jordan. And,
Little known fact about me, Robbie, is when I was a kid, I did root for the Bulls because of MJ.
Nice. Yeah, and I think that's okay. I think, people are always like, you can only root for one team or there's all these rules of fandom. And I'm like, for me, I'm like, I don't know if that's actually true or needs to be even considered. Yeah. Anyway, it's we'll move on to this Portland Trailblazers game, which I thought was really kind of disappointing of the bunch, but not surprising. We were worried about this last week. Tim talked about how sometimes Portland and Washington. I've seen it before against this team where we haven't showed up, but it was a close game. Portland took an early lead by 5, 29-24 at the end of the first. Extended that lead to score 39 points in the second quarter to Washington's 33. And then they extended it a little bit. And then they extended it more in the third. But then Washington in the fourth quarter put up 30 points and held the Trailblazers to 21. So they made it closer in the end, but I never kind of thought the Wizards were going to win this game, and it was just sort of a rough night. Spencer did an amazing 27 points, 7 assists. He had a great game. Trez had a good game. The problem wasn't necessarily on the offensive side; it was on the team defense, and they just allowed two players to put up 54 points combined. That's never very good. They were able to just outwork them, offensively ultimately, and Wizards were able to kind of get back into it in the end. But I just never thought that they were going to beat them in this game. What are your thoughts on that?
So Anthony Simmons absolutely went off in this game. 31 points and 11 dimes. Absolutely, stellar performance by him. Nurkic had a double-double, 23 points and 14 boards, and fouled out of this game. So that was the only way they could stop him was he fouled out of the game. But this was, even though the score says it was close, I was paying attention to this via updates on the score app, and it was not close at all most of this game. To the point that I was streaming my podcast, and I was like, "Well, clearly I'm not missing much from this Wizards game." And I remember you saying, "Yeah, you're not missing much." This was not a close game at all. The score may indicate that, but this is not a close game at all. The Blazers outplayed this team in all facets of the game, and that's why they were able to come out with the dub. Western Conference teams seem to just play much better against Eastern Conference teams, even though they're coming from West to East. They still seem to play better. And even though their record doesn't show it, the Blazers are such a talented team. And again, you don't have Beal. but you did have five players, I should say, scoring double figures, but defensively, you just had no answer for their scores, and that's why the result was what it was.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, we can move on from this game. I watched this game and I don't remember much about this game. It's just one of those games where it just wasn't memorable. I just didn't feel that they had, that they were ever gonna. I didn't have that feeling that I had today. I think today's game, I'm gonna move ahead to that, was just an incredible performance by the Wizards, and it's kind of like more like a memorable game. Like I can tell you a lot of plays that happened in it that were positive for the Wizards. They started off great, 38-29 in the first quarter. The 76ers came back a little bit, outscored them 26-23 in the second. The Wizards outscored them by 2 in the third, 30-28, and then they really kind of put it on in the fourth. They held the 76ers to 15 points in the fourth quarter and scored 26, and they ended up kind of routing them 117-98. Joel Embiid is a beast. Like, there's just no stopping this guy. He can shoot threes, he can be down low, he can dunk. Just an incredible player, and I think that the game plan, at least from what I kind of see in this game, we were on our third coach, by the way, in this game. Our number one and number two in COVID protocols. So I think the game plan was let Joel Embiid have his. I mean, he's on a crazy hot streak. I think it's 5 games in a row on the road, scoring above 30 points. And that's just incredible. And it's averaging, I think, 29 points per game this year, I want to say. So, like, just been really great all season long. So let him have his, maybe a couple other players get theirs, but ultimately just try to beat them by scoring more and team defense. Like, mitigate everybody else on the team and play good help defense on everybody else. And it worked. I mean, Joel Embiid had 32 points, but he was in foul trouble. That was another good thing that they did, was they really took it to him, including a vicious dunk by one of the heroes of this game, Kyle Kuzma, who had 15 points, but again, those 2 points seemed like so much more than 2. I mean, I ran around the room. I went crazy after that dunk. People have to go back and see it. It should be on a poster. Embiid did get a big dunk later in the game. I think as kind of a see, I can do it too. But they also had 16 rebounds, including 15 defensive ones for Kyle Kuzma. KCP had 14 points. Bradley Beal coming back at 13, 6 assists and 5 rebounds. Just a nice, not quiet, but just like a good, just sort of easier way back into it. But just if you look down the line, they filled the score sheet from all the players. I thought Montrezl Harrell had a beast of a game, and so did Thomas Bryant. He had 15 points in 16 minutes. He's coming back from injury, and you need all of your centers to play well. It's funny that Daniel Gafford actually started the game at center, but played the least amount of time at that position, right? Because I thought Trez just had a beast of a game. But I'm just really impressed with the team defense and just coming together and just putting a solid game. And they were taking these blows and these huge runs against them, but they were able to sustain that and come away with a big win. What were some of your thoughts about this Martin Luther King Day game?
So first and foremost, Kyle Kuzma absolutely shit on Joel Embiid, and he needs to understand that he got shit on. Honestly, he got absolutely posterized, and that needs to be memorized for all eternity. He got posterized. That's number one. Number two, Denny Abdia only played 2 minutes, and he made the only shot he took in this game, which is incredible, understandably. 3, the depth and the balance of scoring on this side, on this Wizards team this year, or this game, was absolutely just amazing because of the fact that everybody scored something. So it made it so that they were able to stay ahead of this team. And also, 76ers, they're fifth in the Eastern Conference, and the Wizards absolutely just didn't even make it a contest. There were times it kind of got close for them in this game, but for the most part, the Wizards stayed composed. They kept fighting. They kept scoring. TB with that beautiful jumper at the end of the quarter to beat the buzzer. That was awesome. TB's hitting threes. Yeah, Joel Embiid went off. Of course, he went off. But people are going to remember 2 things from this game. Yeah, he got 30-plus points, which is the 11th straight time road game that he's scored 30-plus. But they're going to also remember that Kyle Kuzma absolutely shit on him, period. So great win for the Wizards. This is a great way to continue this long homestand that they have.
Yeah, because this is, I mean, it's a hard game to get up for because it's a 2 o'clock game. The crowd is pretty good, but it's COVID, so it's never going to be like full. But to have 13 players play for a team against the 76ers, who are a really good team, so it's not like you'd have a lot of garbage time. 12 players showed up on that stat sheet. Everybody kind of pulled on the rope together, and it was just really cool to watch. And it wasn't like the Bradley Beal and Friends show that so many times it has been, or where only one or two or three people show up. But I mean, we're talking about 7 players, I believe, in double digits in this game. So that's just really a great team effort. And against a really good 76ers team who played a really good game. I thought it was a really high-quality basketball game throughout the whole match. And the Wizards just absolutely dominated them at the very end. But for the first 3 quarters, it was a great game.
Yeah, indeed. I agree.
All right, let's take a quick look at the week ahead as we're coming up on the 11 o'clock hour. We got the Nets on Wednesday at the 7 o'clock start. We've got on Friday the Raptors. That's an 8 o'clock start. On Sunday, it's a 3:30 afternoon game against the Boston Celtics. So we continued this homestand here with 3 more home games. What are your thoughts on the Nets, the Raptors, and the Celtics?
The Nets game is going to be extremely tough. The Nets are such a talented team. They're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. I'm not predicting a win for this one, but I would love to be wrong on that one. But I feel like that's one we're going to lose. Kyrie Irving is so stuck in his ways of not getting vaccinated. I just don't understand it. I won't talk about it because that's another topic for another time. The Raptors, this is a team that it's been up and down with them. Like, we beat them, we get them, and then they get us, and not only get us, but they really get us. So I feel like they could win this one, especially if they come off that Nets game and actually get a win. That kind of momentum will be great against the Raptors. And then we have the Celtics, who are just right behind us, a half a game behind us in the standings. Jason Tatum is averaging almost 26 points a game, so he's going to be somebody you're going to definitely have to keep your eye on. Hopefully, now that we have our full complement of players that we normally have and the rotations that Wes Unseld Jr. can utilize if he's back from the protocols, I honestly feel like this Wizards team can go 2-1 this week, with the lone loss being against the Nets. But I would love to be wrong and they go undefeated this week to continue this long homestand and be able to build off of this as they charge towards the All-Star break.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting seeing that it's the team that's above us right in the standings right now against the Toronto Raptors, the team that's right behind us, the Celtics, and the team that's in 3rd place with the Nets. So it's all right in these playoff positioning. And I want to remind people, so there's the 9-10 matchup. If you lose that, you're automatically out. The 7-8, you win that, you get in as the 7th seed, and then the loser of the 7-8 and the winner of the 9-10 play for the 8th seeded spot. So it's interesting to take into account here. You really want to try to get into that 7-8 game, so that way you have an opportunity. Even if you lose it's not single elimination. So it's really important to try to get that 7th and 8th spot, but it's not over if you don't, kind of thing. But and you obviously want to get 9 over 10 because the 9th place team will have the home court for that 1 game single elimination game. So it's really important not to fall to that 10th spot. So the Wizards, Celtics, and Knicks are all fighting for it right now, to try to for seeding. So it's going to be an important week in this. I mean, it's a long season, but it obviously these are the teams you're fighting for. So we call them in hockey, they're double point games kind of thing in the sense that, and it's same true in the win-loss here when you're trying to chase teams. It's kind of like a double win if you can beat a team that you're chasing. And if you lose, it's a double loss in the sense that you go down and they go up. So it's really important to get these wins, especially in the conference, especially against the teams that you're trying to get the playoff positioning for. But well, thank you so much for helping me break that down. As always, Champ, let people know about what you're talking about on the True No Spots podcast. I'll give you a shout in the Twitch channel.
Yes, so this coming Saturday, we will be talking about the week that was in wrestling as WWE is building towards Royal Rumble. AEW's got things going on. And of course, myself and Sip, we will be doing a countdown of the top 5 wrestling matches of 2021. We usually do that when there's not a pay-per-view going on in January or things like that. So we're going to give our top 5 wrestling matches of 2021, as well as whatever news came out this week, and also a little New Japan recap. We did a nice New Japan recap this past Saturday with Sage, where we talked about the 3 nights of Wrestle Kingdom, which was awesome. So make sure you check us out at twitch.tv/True No Spots Pod this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we stream that live. And you can check out the podcast partners button on sportsothp.com to listen to the audio of it as it goes up every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on all the podcasting platforms.
Perfect. Sounds good. Yeah, definitely people check it out on Twitch. Check it out on our podcast partners button. And Champ, I always appreciate breaking down the NBA week. And what a fun game that today was on MLK Day. I'm happy. The Wizards were at 500 all time on MLK Day games. And so now they're 1 win above 500 in that. So I thought that's kind of a fun stat to end it on. But thank you again for modding our Twitch chat. And we'll talk to you next week.
All right, talk to you guys, man. Take care.
All right, champ, take it easy, Mike.
All right. So, Carol, what are some of your final thoughts before we end today?
As always, another great show. Appreciate all the contributors, all the viewers, all the Robbie's new Twitch followers. Appreciate y'all checking us out. Always go check out the website, as DCsPeoplesChamp just said, www.sportsothp.com for all of our content, podcast partners, apparel line, everything DC sports related. You know, you can find it there. You can go follow and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Carol Porter III. That's with 3 eyes. I do highlight videos, stream this show, stream At the Bar Radio Sunday nights at 6. We talk politics, current events, entertainment, news, independent music, and a little bit of sports also. Make sure you check it out. If you're in the market for a new or used vehicle, hit me up. I'm down at Waldorf Honda, 2450 Crane Highway, down at Waldorf. Inbox me, come on down. We got some nice cars, good prices. We'd love to sell you a vehicle. It's 31-11. Rams are up with 6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. So they pretty much got this game in hand. We'll be back next week to break down the divisional rounds and recap those and leading up to the championship weekend. As always, tune in for the best DC sports coverage around. And really much nothing else to say, Robbie. You know what we do. You know how we roll. And you know why we do it. We do it because we love doing it. And it's DC Sports Without the Politics. It's not just a catchphrase. It's not just a motto. It's what we do. CP3 live from the lab. And I'm out.
Recording stopped.
No. I was down, now I'm really about to go get up. 10 rounds, now that nigga can't get up. That's what you get when you go fuck with the vision. My money be piling, we don't do division. The feds be watching, I just gotta get up. I was just down, now I'ma get up. Sleeping on me, I bet that they get up. My money was low, but now I'ma get up. Oh, bet that we get up. Pushing this weight, I'm doing sit-ups. I was just dirty, now I got my fit up. Too good for these bitches, I bet they gon' miss us. And I pack a bag if you think that I'm trippin'. I keep this shit brisk, like I'm lip down. Even though niggas don't know what to get on. You ain't shit, till your niggas go and get on. Get you some pack, go make a flip homes. Yeah, I'm stuck in my bad ways. Niggas always being burnt out, so I dip them all in the ashtray. I don't understand these niggas that just always talking about, yeah, they past ways. I don't understand these bitches always comparing me to they past days. I give a fuck about you, you give a fuck about me. I just be rapping for money, you be rapping for free. Feel like that I rap like a god, the reason they call me a G. I'm against all of these odds, niggas ain't fucking with me. Never no worries, Hakuna Matata. They say that I'm hot cause the devil with Prada. I'm soldier boy first and these niggas gon' follow. Catching no feelings, you catching these hollows. Ride with Rodriguez like I fuck with Rollo. Ain't got no time when I see this Movado. Bet that bitch shine like I'm in Monte Carlo. Looking at me like I done hit the lotto. Counting your last days, get hit up. Talking that trash, Shay on Twitter. Your bitch, she be bad, yeah, I'm with her. When she see me, her face be lit up. Boy, better go ahead and mind your business. I don't go back and forth like tenor. Run this game, I don't get no finna. But we about to get up. 10 rounds, now that nigga can't get up. That's what you get when you go fuck with the vision. My money be piling, we don't do division. The feds be watching, I just gotta get up. I was just down, now I'ma get up. Sleeping on me, I bet that they get up. My money was low, but now I'ma get up. Oh.
Crank it up, Pedro.
I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the village, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on the move, that's a digital dash. Ain't been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the village, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on the move, that's a digital dash. Ain't been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. But I dish it like I give it and go. Counting money while I chill at the stove. How I deliver, I've been at the dough. It's up to you how business will go. That 36 I get for the look. Count it up, no feelings will show. Spend so much, gotta get it some more. When they hands out, I just give them a no. How they always talk about me, but a nigga stand out. Watch out how you really walk up to me, that's a man down. All these niggas got these drums with them like a band now. I've been doing what I want, that's what you can't doubt. I've been just feeling myself. Do I just really need help? I got my weight up. I be just telling myself I got love for all of my dogs. I take a pay cut. Some niggas really gon' ride. Some niggas really gon' slide. So go say a prayer. We ain't never gotta slap 5. Nigga, just pay your tithes and call me the mayor. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the village, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on the move, that's a digital dash. Ain't been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. I gotta wake up and go get the bread. I gotta go ahead and clip up the smash. She all in the village, she giving me sex. I got a slack, sweat on my ass. Count up on the move, that's a digital dash. Ain't been just losing, I'm living these fads. Never go broke cause I got me a stash. I could never ever live in the past. let's go. Jumped in a Cadillac, girl, put some miles on it. Yeah, let's go, let's go. Pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it for a bam, bam, bam. Pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it for a bam, bam, bam. Pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it for a bam, bam, bam. Pop it, pop it, pop it. Come on, Kitty. Oh, sing it for my ladies, Kitty. Jumped in a Cadillac, girl, put some miles on it. Let's ride. I see you, shit. It's TK. Hey, Daz. Hey, Connor's Bar, Cuddies. Ellie. Hey, Keisha. Big Bill. Mama, Bess. Hey, Nada. And Lele. Y'all with me? Yeah. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go, 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 let's go.
A few years ago, I told myself I'd be the next big thing in the industry. See, the game is simple. Life has its way to show us that anything is possible. The power of the tongue, which has the ability to be detrimental or beneficial. Was it beneficial? I'll leave that one up to y'all. This is my story from me to you.
If you're listening to this song right now, I'm speaking specifically to you. I want to give you my testimony and tell you a little bit about myself, if you don't mind. Coming from nothing but a little struggle and pain. Crazy how we can all turn around for you and change. I done seen a lot of things in the street, on danger to me. Hustling with them niggas that was no good for me, but I never gave up. 10 toes prayed up, thinking about the nights when the opposition got sprayed up. Trying to see a sunny day, all I get is rainy days. Screaming free my dogs and the loved ones who ain't here today. Yeah, I miss you, wanna kiss you, wanna hug you and hold you, won't forget you. All my life I've been misunderstood, just a little nigga tryna get up out the hood. And this thing we call poverty, but that's all inside of me. Used to cry myself to sleep, but strong I gotta be. Now I'm on TV, I done made it out the street. Troubled child turned the streams to reality. See, I knew that I would get there all along. Listen to the words of the song. This is my story from me to you. All I wanna do is just give you my truth. All I really want, promise to keep this just between me and you. Just between me and you, yeah. And you can do anything, just believe in your dreams will come true. Who would've thought that we would come up like we did? Running around on Upland Street, man, I never forget. They told us we was bad, always getting in some shit. Breaking windows from throwing rocks, but we was just being kids. And smoking at the park, coming in after dark. Rolling with them thug niggas, reckless with no heart. Sexing on them, hood rats addicted from the start. Trapping and catching cases, ghetto life is so hard. Coming from a broken home, left me all alone. Neglected as a child with nothing to call my own. But now that I'm good, now that I'm paid, I'm shining, everything is okay. This is my story from me to you. All I wanna do is just give you my truth. I'm giving you my truth with you in it. Promise to keep this just between me and you. Don't you tell nobody, no. And you can do anything, just believe in your dreams will come true. So yeah, this is a to B conversation. And with great faith, you can see your way out of anything.
What's up, man?
I've been calling you all day.
Listen. I'm in the booth. I'm gonna call you back as soon as I'm done. Give me like 10 minutes.
What do you mean you're gonna call me back? Like, I've been calling you all day. It's been hours. Like, what are you doing?
I know it's your birthday. My apologies. Give me 10 minutes, babe. I'm gonna call you right back.
No, you with them girls, aren't you? I know you with them girls.
Ain't no damn girls in here.
So let me see then.
You gonna do that? You gonna do that to me in front of Chill?
You got me waiting on my birthday, so let me see.
Yeah, no problem. Fellas, say hello.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
We working. That's so hard, though.
Hey, listen. Hey, give me an hour. I'm gonna call you real quick. Calm down. Relax. I got you.
Hurry up.
Right.
Sometimes I don't even come home. Them nights you be calling my phone. I know it's hard for you doing what I do, staying out at night. There's only one word for you that comes to my mind. It might seem we're going the wrong way. You always scream, we never talk, and I never get a chance to say. I know it's hard for you doing what I do, staying out at night. There's only one word for you that comes to my mind.